Welcome to Mediocre Gaming, and today we're playing Destiny 2.
I wish I could go with you into the
Well, good
future.
morning, good afternoon, good
Man
evening,
curses
and
were-
salutations. Today, it's time to get true. Let's get to it. So the tincture of Queensfoil helps you see things that aren't really there and help you to get a little bit more loot than you would otherwise have gotten. So, and from week to week, the Dreaming City has different ones available. So this week, going to go through a few of them, certainly not all of them. The first one is right next to Petra. Go behind her towards the cliff, and then you'll be able to see the first jump. Continue on. Now there is one blind jump that you'll have to make once you get to this platform. Now it's going to be continuing on, but to the left. So you're going to have to cut back a little bit towards the pavilion a little bit. And then you're going to continue on. And this one actually has a couple of branching paths to it. So it looks like you can choose between going different directions, and they just kind of go into a circle. So it is a little bit misleading. And don't forget, some of these can be disappearing, so you don't want to wait too long on any of the ones that are flat. The first few are fine. After that, you never know. So continue on until you get to the chest right above the pavilion. Now that's the long way. Now if you're a warlock, a titan, or a hunter with stomp ease, you can take the same path up to the blind jump. So jump, jump, another jump, and then you have the blind jump. You get to the blind jump, you make it, then you turn towards the pavilion and then just jump on top of the roof of the pavilion, and then jump directly from there to the chest, and then you're done. Easiest one. Going from Petra, we're going to go to the Gardens of Ascendant. Now, since most people aren't very familiar with the Dreaming City and most people don't know where everything's at, I'm going to give you as much lead up to this next one as possible. And this next one is going to be the Week 2 Ascendant Challenge, which is one of the weekly tasks, I believe, for Petra. So if you finish this, then you'll be working towards that powerful gear bounty that she gives you. So you go through the strand and you head off towards the cliff until you get to this area, and then this is the beginning of the Gardens of Ascendant. Now you're going to continue on because you want to be kind of in the bottom right bend there of the Gardens of Ascendant. So you're going to get to an area where there are some moss-covered statues that are over by the cliff face. And when you see those around that area, you will get a message that says something about the boundary weakens. And that's your clue that you're close to the Ascendant Challenge. So that is the time to use your tincture of Queensfoil. So make sure that once you get to this area, that's where you'll want to use it. You'll want to give yourself as much time with the true sight as possible. And you'll know it's active because on your character screen, you'll have a true sight buff, and then when you're out in normal play, you'll have that Ascendance buff on the left-hand side, which you can see here. Now you'll be able to see the portal from quite a ways away. You don't have to be right next to it like the jumping puzzles. So there you go. And in order to complete the Ascendant Challenge, This week, you will need some teamwork. You may be able to do it by yourself, but it will be very, very difficult. Now, unlike last week, the blights will only hinder you. They aren't an obstacle to be overcome. So don't worry about the blights, just bypass them. These empty platforms that you see, circular platforms, are the areas where the knights can spawn. Now you're going to want to pick up these charges. There's 3 of them. Take the charges and bring them back to the middle section. You'll be able to tell because it has the giant ball in the middle. So you can just kind of aim for that. Now there's like lightning flashes every so often, so that it makes it a little bit easier to see where everything's at. The knights are very difficult to see in the dark. If you see them spawn, that is the best time to be able to see them. Other than that, it's very, very difficult. Now try to stay out of the blighted areas, because that will prevent you from running, and it'll prevent you from using any sort of additional jumping. So you can't use triple jump. You can. It's almost like a suppression area where you can only do a single hop. So avoid those if at all possible. Get all 3 charges. Once you get a charge, you bring it back to the middle, and you dunk it in the middle. You don't have to press anything, you just have to get to the middle. And then go back and do the other 2. Now, if you have 2 other players with you, as long as one person stays alive in the Ascendant realm, then you're okay. As long as one person stays alive, that's what you need. If everyone wipes out and everyone goes back to the beginning, then you will need to start over. So that is the worst possible scenario. Now there are a couple trees that you can get up into. The phalanxes will be able to shoot at you and knock you out with their blast, shield blast, but the knights won't be able to get to you. So as long as you have one person that is in a tree that is shooting at the phalanxes, that is probably your best bet. And then 2 people can go around and grab the orbs and bring them back to the middle. Or if you want to be kind of doubly safe, you have 2 people working on ads and 1 person running on the charges, the orbs or the charges. Now more than likely you're going to have one that is up in a high area, so you'll have to find the path that kind of curves around to get up to it. Now the location of the charges, I believe, are random, but there is almost always one that is up in a higher location. They may all be fixed, which would make it a little bit easier. So like I said, as long as there is one player on your fire team that stays alive inside of the Ascendant plane, there'll be no problem. If everyone wipes out, you'll have to start over from the beginning, no matter how far you have gotten. You have to complete the entire thing without wiping. So make sure that you have one person minimally that stays alive for the entire duration. Even if you're switching out between the different players. So maybe you have one person go run for one, dunk it, get into the tree, the other person goes and gets one. That way everyone can help out, or you just have one dedicated player that runs and grabs the charges. And like I said, it'll take a little bit longer if you have only one person doing charges versus having 2 people. But it's a little bit safer and you don't have to worry about it as much. Now you'll notice when you dunk it, you have kind of a ghost ball that is sitting in the middle section. And when you dunk 2, then there's 2, and 3, there'll be a third one. And that just lets you know how many charges are in the well, or how many charges that you've been able to dunk. Continue on. The biggest threat is the knights. The phalanxes can be a problem, but as long as you're running, they shouldn't be as big of a problem as the knights. The knights are a problem mainly because they're difficult to see. And they seem to be quite fast for someone so large. Now, once you're able to get all 3 in there, it will create a well of light. You'll see a buff called Boundless Light. You'll get your supers back instantaneously. However, that well, that Boundless Light, will attract every knight in the Ascendant realm. So they will be coming directly towards that well of Boundless Light. So it is important to keep one person in a tree alive to make sure that you don't wipe out at this stage, because you've already put in a decent amount of time in order to get all the charges into the well. You don't want to wipe out at this point. So you can have 1 or 2 people going into the well to get their super. If you have a warlock with a Nova Bomb, if you have the new Arc super, those are both good ones to have. Honestly, there isn't necessarily a bad one other than the old Arc Storm Trance for the warlock. Gold Gun is a good one. If you have the Nighthawk exotic leveled up, then you can use that with your Gold Gun. If you have a Titan with hammers, that would be good as well. But the Knights will one-shot you, so you might have to come back a few times before you take them all out. Once you take them all out, chest will show up, you can get your reward, and then a portal will show up to get back to the realm. And once you get back to the realm, you'll notice that it puts you back on a bridge next to another jumping puzzle. And this one also has a blind jump like the one next to Petra. So you need to make that blind jump, which is close to the tree, and then continue on. And this is a little bit difficult because there is more than likely going to be enemies down below you that will be shooting you, and the platforms may as well not be there because their shots can go directly through those areas.
Guardian down.
So keep moving so you don't get wiped out on trying to do this jumping puzzle. It's very straightforward, except for that one blind jump. Very easy to get. Now the last one, you'll need to get to the confluence in order to get there. And there's another video I have that will get you there. And the confluence is not on the map anywhere. You won't be able to see where you're at. But once you get there, you want to kind of jump around. You'll see this room that I'm showing about. The confluence is a relatively small area compared to some of the other areas. So you'll see this floor pattern right here. And that's when you know you're in the right place. It'll say the confluence if you bring your ghost up. Kind of jump around. You'll see kind of this statue here. And as you're jumping around, a platform will pop up. And then you just have to get to one that is low enough There'll be there's no shortcuts with this one. You will have to go through all of them there. I don't believe there's any blind jumps depending on where you start. You will have to go through multiple areas of the room, and you'll have to duck down and whatnot in order to get through different areas. So controlled jumping and crouch walking will be necessary, but overall not too difficult compared to some of the jumping puzzles that we've had. Once you get to the end, you get to the chest and open the chest and get your prize. And that's it. Hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to ring the bell before you leave to be notified of all future episodes as soon as they go live. And thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing, and we'll see you next time.